Hey everybody, welcome back. I said welcome back. Welcome back to the Blended Garden channel. I'm really excited. This is our end of the year chat. You guys know that I always say that I'm not here for subscribers, I'm not here for likes. I do these videos when something resonates in me, or if I meet someone that resonates with me and I really want to bring them on and have a meaningful conversation. So I'm here today with Miss YungaWebb, and I'll let her share a little bit about herself, but a little backstory, little context to how we met. Usually on this channel, I invite friends, educators, and there's always a backstory to our connection. We met at the POCC conference. And I'll let Yunga explain a little bit about what that conference is. It was my first year. I know, Yunga, you've been there like many times. I had the privilege to present the beauty of brown, how to engage young children in materials without addressing race and culture. And it was so wonderful. The energy was great. And I happened to meet Yunga in a session, and the energy that she brought to this circle of in the meeting, I just thought I have to chat more with her. So I'm so happy to know you and get to know you, and hopefully develop our connection and relationship in this work. So Yunga, yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you work, and who you are in this work.
Okay, so Yunga sounds amazing, but it's not my name. My name is Yunga, like young.
You see, thank
That's okay.
you.
Yunga sounds way more exotic, but young
That's
is
what I thought. Yunga, I loved saying it, Yunga.
yeah. You like just like young, which is fun too because I'm definitely aging, but I will always be younger. So yes, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Jahida.
Yes.
Jahida, just to make sure I have it right. Yes, we met at the People of Color conference, and that was actually my fourth conference attending. And we were in an affinity group together, where we were able to talk with other colleagues from all over the country, working at independent schools, about how different issues and topics and how we can support each other. And I just had this was my first year having an overwhelming sense of Yunga, you need to make sure you are a resource to everybody in this circle. We have to lean on each other no matter where we are, no matter if our schools are affiliated. We are stronger when we unite. We as people of color, especially Black people. And so this year was unique. I don't know. You didn't ask me. I'm just kind of giving you the backstory of why I showed up the way I did. This year was unique because I've spent the last 18 years as a teacher, a music theater teacher, an arts teacher, performing arts teacher, which I love the arts, in different places, in different spaces, at a residential treatment center, at the inner city schools of Atlanta Public Schools, all the way to a charter school in Atlanta, then moved to independent schools in Newport Beach, where it was just, I've had the gamut of students, the super privileged and the super underprivileged and underserved. And as an educator, I have been able to see such just the lack of access to some of our minoritized communities. And I just thought it really empowered me to really start my DEI program at my last school. And so while teaching music theater and being a teacher, I initiated our DEI program at my school in Newport Beach. And through doing that, I realized I'm ready to move on and do this full time. So I've attended People of Color Conference several years as a teacher, fighting and trying to make a way and looking for resources. And this year is the first year I attended as the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion.
It must have been very different. A different
So
lens, like you were looking through a different lens.
Total different lens coming there to the People of Color conference. It's a space for educators to lean on each other and say, oh, I'm with my people. Oh, I don't have to fight the system anymore. And so coming this year, it felt like, here, lean on me. I'm actually in position to support, which I wasn't
Can I
before.
just tell you, in that group, I felt that from you, and I needed that in that moment. The
Wow.
energy you brought in, I felt so supported, and I felt like I could lean on you in that energy, in that space you brought.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that because the year before, or a couple of years before, I came as a broken educator. Just how am I going to do this? And now I was able to. So I left that school and got a director of diversity, equity, inclusion position in North Country School in Lake Placid, New York, which is in the Adirondack Mountains, like just 2 hours from Canada. It's freezing up there. It's in the woods, so different. But I get to be at a school that values my opinion and takes
Mm.
what I say, and I don't have to battle. I don't have to fight.
Yes.
And
Can
I'm
I
in a
just say why you said that? That's where I'm at now. And it's such a difference when you are working in a community that hears you, that sees you for your individuality, and they want to know more.
100%. It's a huge difference. And that's kind of a big lesson I've learned. If this, you work where you are, you bloom where you're planted. But if it's not the space, move on.
Yep. There you
Move
go.
on. If you're not being heard, if you're not, those changes are being made to where you can have your cup filled enough, move to where they can be,
Right.
because it's not worth sacrificing our whole selves to
Right.
do what we can and let the next person come in. I was
Right.
hungry 8 years ago and I started it, and now I need to have a seat at the table.
Yep. And they also too, we work with the youngest learners
Yeah.
in this work, whether you're in preschool or, it goes up to fifth grade, sixth grade. And you have to, I think how you just said it, you have to feel good. I don't know how you worded it, but you have to feel good
Mhm.
and be in your best place, because you have to, this is not a paper job. You're not sitting behind a desk typing away and signing off on, you are working with human beings in their development,
Yep.
and you
And
have to bring your
people,
best.
yep.
Right.
People.
And your best is being able to walk into a space that's safe
Mhm.
and be your authentic self, whoever that person is. And if you can't do that, then those children don't get the best of the experience.
100%. You have to fill your cup. You have to. And yes, it's challenging work, but you have to be able to put it to the side and have reason. It's called psychological meaningfulness. Like you have to have meaning to the work you're doing. If you feel
Yes.
like you're, and safety, psychological safety. If you don't
Yes.
feel like you have that, you can't really make a change. So I'm in a position now, as uncomfortable as where I am, coming from Newport Beach, California, to like
Now you're
Adirondack.
like, "Brr!"
Oh, dirt on the ground. Where's the shopping malls? So, but to be able to sit in a meeting with my director and my executive director and know that they are going to hear me and that they value, and the board. So I came to POCC saying, how can I help? How
Mm,
how can I help? Because I leaned on people at POCC
yeah.
when I didn't have anybody, when I would have to tell my head of school, no, affinity groups are important. No, they feel divisive.
Mm,
Well, look, my colleague at this school says that they're important. Here's
mm,
the research. Oh,
mm.
so I just
Wow.
wanted to be, I wanted to be that for people in our affinity groups, and that's where we met. So
Yeah.
here I am.
That's, oh man. Woo. Okay, so we're going to start off. We'll read the book, and then we'll dive in and just talk about, because you do a lot of allyship work, and
Yes.
a lot of these terms. I'm learning a lot of the terms. Like, I didn't learn what an affinity group was until I was in a space where they had one. I was like, really? I didn't know about the POCC conference until I was in a school where they were like, we're sending you. I was like, really?
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it almost felt like, the Wizard of Oz, like there's somewhere out there a land. And so you work a lot with allyship. And so I want us to read the book and then talk a little bit about your perspective from that, because a big part of why I wanted to bring you on, again, I'll say it over and over, is your energy. There's so many emotions behind this work. There's anger, there's remorse, there's divisiveness, there's so much. And I feel like this work can't be done if it's not done with the energy of, let's talk, let's all talk. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you are welcome. And I feel like with allies, there's a feeling of, can I say something? If I say something, will it be wrong? Am I invited? Am Do you like me? You know what I mean? And sometimes we come in with this, and it's like, that's not productive. And now if you're coming at me like that, then I won't give it back. I'll just walk away. I don't even, we won't give into that energy. But if you want to be a part of this conversation, you want to learn, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to say things. There's so many wrong ways to go about this, but let's try and have a circle conversation okay, I'm going to run my mouth. I said I'm going to run my mouth. Sorry. All right. So we are going to start reading The Blended Garden, read by Miss YungaWebb.
Yes. All right. So you just want me to read it?
Feel free. Yes.
Okay, here we go. Remember, I come from a performing arts background. So
I love it. So do I. That's why I'm like, yes.
I just set the bar really high. Okay. Once upon a time in a colorful garden, a dandelion sat alone and disheartened. The dandelion saw many flowers from afar, all arranged by their colors. It was quite bizarre. It longed to be part of the colorful array of tall stems in the wind where they bend and sway. The old lady gardener, with her hat tilted low, arranging her flowers with a wish that they could grow. Now, this old lady gardener was quite confusing. She thought sorting flowers was quite amusing. Placing this flower here and that flower there to match and examine, measure and compare. As each flower lived in its own special space, apart from their friends, it was a very sad place. With arms reaching outward, they tried to connect, but sadly divided. They could not intersect. The flowers were angry, and they began to stand tall. They said to the gardener, "This makes no sense at all. We are all so different, our colors unique. Blend us together, and you'll see a great treat. Mixing our colors, red, yellow, and blue, our petals like flags for all to view. Our rainbow ribbons blowing in the wind, the flowers protected. We want to be friends." Protested. Not separate and sorted by a particular kind. Growing together is how we're designed. The old lady sat in her flower yard. She said to her flowers, "I've been working so hard. Sorting my flowers is tiresome indeed. And could this dandelion be more than a weed?" So tired she was that she took a long nap. And as she slept, zip, zoom, zap. The dandelion slept, then slowly transformed, taking flight in the night. Above the gardener it soared. All was quiet, just beneath the full moon, unaware of the magic that would begin very soon. The old lady gardener awoke from a dream of a blended garden filled with dandelion seeds. As dawn approached, she began stretching and yawning, her arms reaching up to the glory of morning. As she lied in her wheelbarrow, feeling rested and free, envisioning her flowers as a field of we. This blended garden that I saw in my dream was inspiring, extraordinary, and satisfying to see. The old lady gardener with her flowers agreed, there is magic within this dandelion seed. I will no longer sort my dear flower friends. And she blew the dandelion seeds into the wind. Blow this away, blow this way and that way, and land where you may. You are part of my garden, and here you will stay.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I heard all the dramatics of the arts. I love it. And it's so great because with small children, it's like you can perform this for children. Okay. So thank you again for reading the book.
Of course.
So can we talk about allyship? Because I don't know if people, that word's thrown around, but what is allyship? Because allyship, I'm sure, means different things to different people. So maybe let's talk about what allyship is, and then what allyship looks like in your work.
Allyship is vital to the progression of inclusion, belonging, equity. We have to support each other. What affects one directly affects us all indirectly. So we don't stand alone, just as the book stated. what I like to do, so many people, because we just walk through life as ourselves in our skin, in our boots, in our clothes, and sometimes we don't see the struggles of others. I will never know what it's like to be a disabled person because I'm an able-bodied person. So to be an ally to a disabled person is to step in their shoes, have empathy. It all really begins with empathy. Have empathy enough to understand that I can help support that person, and I can also stand for them and with them in their fight to have equal access.
Mhm.
Being an ally is to care, is to be a community. Uh,
Mhm.
you can be privileged all you want and
Mhm.
be in the majority of every different aspect of life, but you can be an ally to everyone.
Mhm.
Like you mentioned, it is so important that we don't shame each other. We don't, just because I don't know what it's like to be disabled, I shouldn't be shamed because I walk through life the way I do,
Right.
and I'm oblivious.
Right.
It is
Right.
the job of that person to help me see. And because I care about that person, I want to see and I want
Right.
to be a real ally, not a performative ally. So,
Okay, so
yeah.
back up. So what is that? A real ally and a performative ally.
So a lot of the times it begins with performative allyship where it's like, oh yeah, I support you. Sounds great. Even let's go for a march. Or even, yes, I agree with you. I'll stand up for you. But to actually put yourself in that space to
Mhm.
support a person, it can look and feel very different. But
Mhm.
I also feel like it may just start as being a performative ally and then it gets deeper and deeper, and let people be on the journey where they are.
Exactly.
Let them be on their journey, and then as time goes things can improve, but at the core of it all is love and empathy and community.
Yep, I agree. It's funny because I'm a visual learner. Like, don't give me a paper with words and Excel sheets. I'm like, I'm not looking at that. It's not going to register. I need visuals. I need to see things. So I'm looking at our two screens, right?
Yes.
So your screen, everything is blurred out,
Yes.
and I only see you. My screen, you can tell me about everything in my room, the details. And I think that that's kind of when you talked about how we go through the world and everything is blurred out and it's just your vision. But when you open up, you can see other people like the disabled or the neurodivergent learners, people of color, different backgrounds, people who don't look like you, smell like you, talk like you, walk like you, dance like you, whatever. And so yeah, that's my, I guess, how I see things.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We are meant to be like the blended garden. We are meant to cross pollinate. What
Yeah,
makes us stronger?
I love that.
All of these ecosystems, they don't survive just being what they are. They have to have others to help them grow. And we are better when we are different and unique. So we have to lean on each other. We're just a richer community, a richer country, a richer space when
Yeah.
we have that uniqueness and that diversity. So
Yeah.
we have to lean on each other. We cannot be an island.
Yeah, that's so true. It's funny. Now there's the DEIJ work, there's so many acronyms out here now. I'm like, I can't keep up.
I know it just keeps changing.
It keeps changing and growing. I always say, you can go on LinkedIn and there's like so many jobs, DEIJ, DEIJ. It's a thing now. But this has been in existence since.
Yeah, it's not a new concept.
It's not a new concept. Yeah, right, exactly. So, but I just think about how, you know, like with all these, acronyms, and now we talk about like allyship and things like that. There, I feel like there is, like you said, how do I say it? There's this guilt of within the ally community that I really would love to like address at some point. You know what I mean? Like, and almost like I said, this has been going on for a long time now. We have new acronyms for everything. And in the beginning, I feel like everyone's, yeah, let's get on this. We want this one. And I feel like there's this feeling now that it's like the elephant in the room, like, okay, enough.
Yeah, the pendulum is swinging back the other way.
Right, right. And I really want to talk about this because that's where that feeling of this is our fight, and that feeling of, why are you here? And that feeling of almost like guilt for privilege, and like, "Ugh, I didn't start the fight. I didn't, I'm just trying to help make it work too." And now, like you said, the pendulum is swinging backwards. Like, now what are the conversations we're having? Like, we can't have the same conversations maybe we had 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, when schools were starting to talk about DEIJ. Let's hire somebody for DEIJ. We need somebody. You know what I mean? Am I making sense?
Absolutely. This is why when I do the work and as I facilitate the work, my style is to take off the labels. Take off
Mm,
the labels of, oh, well, no, we don't say that. This is this and this. And these people we don't like, let's stop putting ourselves in boxes and let's deal with
mhm.
the fundamental concepts of, and in education, we're trying to teach people to be better people. That is just the underlining
Right.
thing as educators. We're trying to raise children to be good citizens within the community and
Right.
educate.
And that's what we call our, another acronym, the SEL work, the social emotional learning,
Yes.
which, parents and administrators, that's the core, especially with the youngest learners. It's all about social emotional development.
Yeah. And just
That
learning
comes before the DEIJ stuff.
does. I mean, it's intertwined because you have to understand how to be advocates, how to talk and understand other people, how to have empathy. All of
Mhm.
these tools are super important. So just dealing in fundamental concepts. Well, is that kind? Are you caring? Does
Mhm.
that feel fair? Are
Mhm.
you responsible? Are you being a good citizen rather than justice? Like, oh, that scares me. I don't want to be just. Well,
Right.
there justice is rooted in equity. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
just
And you know what? It's so funny. Can we stop there with the justice?
yes,
Because right, when you hear justice, I see in my mind civil rights movement, black people fighting for their rights, and the white people with the dogs, and then no, everyone backs away from that.
yes.
Um and so, you know, I have so many thoughts that I'm losing my thoughts because I have so many thoughts around it. Um but with the justice piece, and inequity, that's what I wanted to say. With young learners, it's like that's all that matters to them. That's all that matters to them is inequity. Like, we think it's diversity, right? Like, you know, let's in diversity and inclusion. Yes, 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 we need all that. But diversity is for administration, to make sure that everyone is represented.
Represented, right.
Right. As a black woman and a mother, diversity for me is important. That if I work in a school where no one looks like me, and then there's a child that comes into the space that looks like me, diversity is important to me, to make sure that that child feels included. But equity and inequity, that's what small children care about. You set up a snack and you give a child 2 crackers and you give another child one, they understand that. And that's kind of where we have to come from, that inequity equity piece, when we're teaching the youngest learners. But then with the adults, yes, diversity, inclusion, and all that. These are just things that have been going through my mind.
And this is people work, like I said earlier, and the whole of life falls within this.
Yeah.
So we just need to chip away at it. We're
Yeah.
not going to get it all. Oh, we've arrived. Oh, we did it. No, no, no. We
Right.
just we have to sustain ourselves throughout it. So we
Exactly.
have to continue to build our relationships. But this is life. It's like a marriage. They say everything can happen in a lifetime of a marriage. So
Mm.
you just deal with it as it comes. You deal with it little at a time. You can't be like, okay, let's sit down and talk about all of these issues. No, no,
Yeah.
no. One
Right.
at a time, and then we'll deal with it and we get better. And next year it looks better.
Right.
So that's what
We have to be patient with each other.
yeah, yeah,
And again, not, this is a table, a circle table, where everyone's invited. You
yeah,
can't be patient with the people that look like you
right.
also have to be patient with the people that don't look like you, and or don't have the same experiences as you. Because things will be said, like, let's talk microaggressions there. I think you've really grown in this work when you are a person of color, when you can be confronted with a microaggression and you don't take it personal.
Absolutely.
Right? But that takes years.
It takes time.
I've been working for 30 years, and trust me, I have had
It takes
so
time.
many come my way. And now I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe that's a conversation, but it doesn't personally affect me.
No, but it should always be a conversation. It just happened to me because
Hmm.
when you have love at the root of it, it's like, oh, that's kind of a stupid racist joke. Oh, I'm so sorry. No big deal. Don't say it though.
And then you can have the conversation, right? Because the guilt is removed. Because unless someone is really coming at you, I mean, listen, I've had real racists come at me. Like, I can tell you stories of people saying they're going to burn my house down. Oh yeah, in a different part of a different part of United States. Yes, it is very real, and I know what it looks like. But then you also know what just someone who just doesn't have your experience, and they say something that is inappropriate. And like you said, that's a conversation. Now, the question is, are you willing to have that conversation with me? Because that will say everything. Because I was in a situation when, right, something was said and done, and I went to the person and they apologized, and I said, no, it's all fine. I said, maybe we can talk about it later. No, we're good. So for me, that said, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it, right? You're not ready to have that conversation, and that's fine with me. But now I see, and you do, as the book says, we don't sort and separate and put people in categories. But at some point, you do have to put people in categories when it comes to, you don't see me, you don't hear me.
Yes,
Right,
don't put yourself in the line of fire, but
right. And that's okay. There's no hate there or anything. But now I see and know where you stand, and in this spectrum.
Absolutely. I'm gonna switch real quick. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, I love that picture. Were you running out of battery?
I was. My computer is old apparently, and it was halfway charged and now it's not. But I'm here.
Hi. Okay, we're back. So yeah, okay, so allyship. So is there anything else you wanted, like, how do you see using this book? How, first of all, how old are the children in your community?
So they're fourth. We're a junior boarding school, so we're fourth through ninth grade.
Wow.
So it's quite wide. However, they're still kids, and like you said, getting these concepts right at the beginning will really help them to understand as they get older. We're not going to see the benefits of our work right now. We're not. This is, like I said, this is life work. So we just need to keep plugging away at it, and we're going to see things are better. Things are going to be better. I have to believe that.
Yeah.
I learned from my daughter. I have an 18-year-old, and I learn from her all of the time. And that generation is very much like, these policies, nah, they're rooted in racism. Let's change it. And those are going to be the lawmakers.
It's so funny. I just started working with older children. I work at one school with preschool children, and then I work in another school where it goes from second to fifth grade. And I'm seeing how these new younger children, they're woke.
They are. They are. They just get it. They're saying, no.
Yeah.
And we just want to kind of hold on to what's been done to us. They don't even hold on to that as much. They're like, yeah, that's not functional. Let's move on.
Yeah, and they have no problem letting you know when something's not okay. I'll tell you a funny story. It was my first day on the job, and I had a roster of all the names, and I'm not an Excel person, so I'm trying to go through the names and make sure I say everyone's name for attendance. And I said this young lady's name improperly. And it was a beautiful name, but I just couldn't get it right. And so her friends kind of gathered around me, and they said, just like this, that's not her name, and we don't like you. Now I was just like, okay, this is not, I'm not in Kansas. This is not preschool. These older children are woke. But what I said to them was, I said, you know what? I'm very sorry. I said, but when I was your age, no one ever pronounced my name right. My name is Jahida, and no one got it right. I was like, this is my first day. Please be gentle with me. I'm very sorry. I'm going to work on it. And that was it. And now, 6 months later, they're like,
oh yeah, that squashed it. It showed that you cared. You
right.
cared enough to get it right, and you presented that to them. And they're like, oh, okay, she cares. All they need to know is that you care.
Exactly. But let me tell you, when I was their age, I went through the entire year, and every day, I remember my fifth grade teacher, he called me a new name every day, and I never spoke up. I never said anything, because that was the time, that was the generation, that was how we were, that was our mentality. But these younger children, and I can only imagine, you work with fourth grade up to ninth grade, the thing, I kind of imagine, like, if they were to use this book or talk about it, even though it's a children's book, there's so many metaphors of marginalization, of inclusion, of, sorry, telling me that I'm running out of time. Oh my God, we have to come back and do more of this.
We'll do more.
Yes, and we were talking about that. I might as well say it now that we're here. I've never done a Zoom where we invited people to come on, but I definitely love that idea, and I think if we do this again, we can come back on with other educators and talk about, I don't know what, but we'll figure out something.
There's topics, yes.
Oh, oh my God. So Yunga, oh wow. I wish and I told you earlier, I have this on a timer because I can talk all day about this work. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for
Or
your
and
energy.
we're gonna have you out to our school, where we value our flowers. We value our animals. We value our land, our environment, and really making those parallels as you did in this book. I would love for you to come and maybe even do a talk or do a book read.
I am there. You just let me know. And really quick,
Okay.
before we sign off, you said there was a sheep shearing at the conference when I met you in the hallway and we were running back and forth. You said something about a sheep. I was like, what? A
We
sheep?
we have a farm, and we have sheep, chicken. We have chickens. We have so many animals. And the art teacher, literally, we shear the sheep, then they dye the yarn, they make it into yarn, and they make art projects. So
Oh
you
my
need to
God. Oh my God. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm going
come
to
visit.
this hotel and I'm coming to your school. Oh my gosh, Younga, thank you again for just coming on, and I'll post this up and share it with you. Feel free to share it with all your friends. And everyone, thank you for coming to our last reading of 2022, The
Ooh,
Blended Garden.
thank you. See
All
you
right,
soon,
Younga, Happy
Kavita.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye.